The first seating area I selected was at Goodyear Recreational Park. Uh, it was made up of four benches, and each bench had its own shading area, which uh, shows in my cost because uh, that's why the cost is a 5, because although you do have the seating area which is cost effective, you need the shading area above, which is made up of metals and different materials. So that's why the cost is so low. And aesthetically, it's not really aesthetically pleasing. It's just a bunch of metal benches with shading areas. Also, sustainability isn't so high up just because it is using a lot of metals coming from different states, and the carbon footprint is really high for these materials. But on the other hand, usage, every single bench was used that day by users just because of the shading area and how hot it is in Arizona. So the shading area really did attract its users. The wooden bench I saw on my hike, uh, I gave it a 4 for comfort because it's just a small wooden bench. Also for aesthetic, it's not really aesthetically pleasing. It's just a small wooden bench. Not much thought goes into the design of the bench. But on the other hand, the cost, it's really cost effective because there's only one material or two materials being used, and you don't need to spend a lot of money since it's not a huge bench. Also with sustainability, they could use local or maybe chop down trees on the hike or on the trail that can be used for the benches, which is sustainable. And then usage, it was also really high for the usage, just because a lot of people were stopping by, having a drink, and continuing their hike, like I did. For my third picture, the red benches, two red metal benches. They're not really comfortable. They're pretty stiff. Like, the material doesn't allow for comfort to be in the picture, so that's why it's a 5. Aesthetically, they are a different color compared to their background, which does allow them to pop out more and users to spot them more easily. So that's why aesthetically I just put a 6. Cost, metal benches like this one, they don't have such a lot of detail, so that's why it's a 7, because it's one form of metal and there's not other metals or materials being used. Sustainability, I put as a 5 just because there's two of them, so did cost twice the money, but also it's not very sustainable to be using these materials in Arizona since it is hot, and the materials are going to be a lot hotter. And then for my fourth bench, I used the Arizona metal bench. So it was located near campus, and I saw that it had Arizona cut into the metal for the design. Which is pretty cool. But that's why aesthetically it's the highest one, just because it does take a lot of time to engrave that or cut that out of the metal. Sustainability, same thing with all the metal benches. They're using materials from outside the state to make these benches. But usage was an 8. A lot of people were stopping by using the bench just because it really does catch your eye with the colors and the design. My last seating area was the Tolleson Amphitheater, which is located in Tolleson. And basically, it's one of my highest scoring seating areas just because, one, it does use a lot of usage by the users just because it's right next to the Tolleson Union High School. And it is aesthetically pleasing with the T engraved on top for Tolleson to create that shading area. But it's not really cost effective or sustainable just because it's using concrete, wood, metals, all these different materials, which isn't cost effective or sustainable.